But how many times have you gone through Shemona Esrei during the 10 days of repentance during a Sesame Tshuva, hoping and praying before you start Shemona Esrei that you're going to not forget any of the seasonal editions, right? And then you're always like, I can't believe I missed that one. So certainly on a fast day you have, on a fast day today, what do you have? You have Anenu and Sim Shalom, plus Zachrenu, Michamocha, Hamelch HaKodesh, Hamelch HaMishpat, Uchsov L'chaim, and B'Sev L'chaim. You have 7 different editions that you have today in my son Shemona Esrei. I missed 2. I missed 2. So you reminded me about Sim Shalom in the repetition, or then I missed Anenu also. So it's like sometimes you're like, okay, this time I'm never going to forget. Okay, if you've never had this experience before, you clearly haven't experienced a Sesame Tshuva where you forget one of those experiences. It was Achrenu, Micha Mocha, whatever. As long as it's not Hamelch HaKadosh, you're in the clear. Yesterday we discussed the idea. But between Mincha and Mar, we discussed the idea about how Yom Kippur is only atones if a person has kapara, has atonement from his fellow as well as from Hashem. So as we discussed yesterday, the concept that because of the fact that Yom Kippur is an all-deal concept, which means you don't go to a car wash and get half your car clean, you either get the whole car clean or it's dirty. So too when it comes to Yom Kippur, we explain this idea that we learn from the Gemara. The Gemara says, so then those sins between man and God, Yom Kippur Mechaber, but those sins between man and man, Ein Yom Kippur Mechaber, until you appease your fellow, you're not going to have atonement from that. From all of your sins before Hashem, you become pure. Those sins between man and God, it will happen, but between man and a friend, it will not happen. So the question is, of course, about how this dynamics of this actually works. So in the Sefer Harei Kedem, what's his name? Harei Kedem. It's based on teachings of Rav Soloveitchik, but the author is Rav Michal Shurkin. So he writes the idea. He says as follows: Kaparas Yom Kippurim bar b'Torah's Kaparas Atzibor. When Yom Kippur atones, it atones in a global fashion, in a tzibor fashion, in a communal fashion. Ve'in hayachid mischaper ela derech hatzibor. The only way the individual has a kapara is through the tzibor. Sharei sareh mishalech, because we know the major part of the Yom Kippur avoda that we have is sending the goat off into the fields, off into the cliff. The Sarah Mishalech, korban tzibur, that is a korban that comes from the tzibur. It's a communal offering, and therefore it's not an individual offering. Vein kain, if so, the kedei letzarif ula'ached es tzibur yachad, in order to bring the tzibur together, and tzarech shalote shum mechitza v'chatzitza mavdila bein anshe tzibur. There must be no mechitza, no separation, v'chatzitza or interposition that separates between the people of the tzibur. V'zeu she'yisei Raphaim Chassidus quotes, this is the concept of Yom Kippur has tremendous love between fellow Jews. Why? Because in order to get atonement on Yom Kippur, we want to make sure that the individuals have harmony in order to be able to get atonement from Hashem. So this is the concept that we said yesterday. He's explaining the reason for this concept because of the fact that the goat itself that we offer, the korban itself, is kaparas atzibor. In order to have that, you need to bring everyone together in this manner. By having them have no animosity towards one another. So I thought for a second when he says this, it's as long as you have to bring the tzibor together, so it's fine. The person I hate davens in some other tzibor, so I have no problem with that. That could work. What about the guy I don't like who's in the other tzibor? Okay, I don't have to worry about it. As long as I'm friends with everybody in my tzibor, I should be good, right? Should be enough. The problem is that's not going to work. The reason why that's not going to work is because the korban that was the ksar lazoza that was offered, that was one korban for the entire Klal Yisrael. So tzibor, it was one korban. It wasn't like everyone brought their goat over a cliff. It was the one person appointed to carry this goat to the other side. So it seems that it's the entire tzibor is what we talk about over here. So that's why we said yesterday and repeated again, very important that in order to get a kapara, you want to be an individual who is able to forgive others. You want to be an individual who is able to forgive others no matter what they do to you. You want to be able to forgive them because you don't want to be holding up the atonement of the tzibor because of the fact that you have this. Now again, don't forget, you won't be holding up the atonement of the tzibor. The tzibor will have atonement. The individual may not have atonement if you're holding on to these. If you're holding on to these sins yourself, but it's something that you don't want to hold on to. You're not going to gain anything from it. And of course, we all know those of us that hold on pain that other people cause us. The only person that suffers is us. They usually don't care one iota that you're in pain because of them, and it's usually you're the only one who actually suffers. There's a great video I urge everyone to watch. You can find it on h.com. It's called The Landlord. It's a great video. It's a little cartoon video. In that video, it's a father. It's like a cartoon drawing video. Father's driving with his son, and they're just talking the whole time. And the video is about how this guy lost his job, and his friend actually took the job from him that he was supposed to get, and he's been bothered by it, and he's been hating this guy for about 8-9 months, and he's been living with him. And I urge you to watch it, because it helps you in really letting go of the issues that other people cause us, and realize that as long as you're holding on to the pain of other people, you're really holding on to your own avodah zarah. You're holding on to your own idol worship, because you can't really let go, and you don't see Hashem in the mix over here. So that's something to keep in mind. We're going to take a look at another piece right now. We have 2 more minutes left. There's another piece, and that is Vidoy Erev Yom Kippur. On Erev Yom Kippur, we daven early Mincha. The reason why we daven early Mincha is so we can have our meal and make your confession before you eat, so you don't die, unless you die. So this is a great question. Why do we have Yom Kippur? Why do we have Mincha early? And we have Vidoy in that Yom Kippur. We have the confession earlier in that Yom Kippur. So everyone is answered in a similar vein. Remind ourselves this idea. The reason why is because I want to be able to do a Vidoy. I want to ask for forgiveness before Yom Kippur begins, because I'm about to have my Suda. And if I have my Suda, then the Rambam's version is, because Shema Yechanek, maybe you'll choke during the meal. So if you choke during the meal, so then what did we gain? You already repented. Yeah. Before what? Before you die. Yeah. So you should do this every day.
Some do.
Well, but I'm saying, why specifically every Yom Kippur? That is the question. Why specifically every Yom Kippur? Okay? Let me just quote you the Gemara. The Gemara says, Mitzvah Vidoy Erev Yom Kippur im chashechet. It's towards dark is when you're supposed to do Vidoy. Aval Amr Chachamim. But the Chachamim said, Yisvada kodem sheyilcha v'yishte, you should do a Vidoy before you eat and drink. Shema titarev daito b'suda, lest you become, loose-minded, out of your mind by the meal. Titarev daito means that you're not in your right mindset. Why? Because Rashi says you're going to get drunk. Back then, what was the beverage of choice? Didn't have water all over the place. You had wine all over the place. So what'd you do? You ate and you drank. That's how you did. That's how you drank. You drank wine. So you would get drunk. So we're concerned if you're going to do if you're going to eat your meal and then come to Shul Dav Mincha do Vidoy, you're going to be drunk. You're not going to be able to do a Vidoy. The Rambam doesn't write. The Rambam writes that you're going to choke. Okay, so if you're going to choke, how is that going to help? Why? What's the question? According to the Rambam says what's going to happen is I'm going to do a Vidoy, and then Chas v'Shalom, a person's going to eat and he's going to choke, and then he's going to, as Bruce suggested, he's going to die. So then what happens on Yom Kippur? Nothing. He's dead. Did you get that? He didn't get Yom Kippur to atone for himself. But Yom Kippur has a level of atonement. There are certain sins that a person does that tshuva can help. There are certain sins that a person does that Yom Kippur can help. There are certain sins that a person does that tshuva and Yom Kippur helps. And certain sins that none of those help. You have to die for those sins to get atonement. So now, you got 2 out of 3, but you missed Yom Kippur, right? Got it last year, right? Listen to these words. How does he get a kapara of Yom Kippur? What we're so concerned about this, that he's going to die. How is Yom Kippur going to help him? He's dead. So he's like, you just missed it. You missed the shot clock. Sorry, buddy. 5 minutes for Yom Kippur, you could have had that atonement. You missed it. You died. Sorry, it doesn't work for you. So he says, what is the Vidoy help over here? So he says as follows, the simple understanding is that even people who are dead can get a kapara on Yom Kippur. Look at that. Even people who die can get a kapara Yom Kippur, because you did a Vidoy before Yom Kippur. What did you do the Vidoy for? You still need Yom Kippur for other things, but you can get a kapara. You have to atone, and then you'll get a kapara that Yom Kippur will afford for the person. How do we know this? The Gemara says on Rosh Hashanah, Sifrei Chaim v'Sifrei Meisim Psuchim Lefanecha, the books of living and the books of dead are open to you. What are the books of dead? So I'll tell you what you think the books of dead are. You think the books of dead are who's going to be judged for life and who's going to be judged for dead. But according to many of the commentaries, Rishonim, Achronim, no, it's not referring to the books of who you're going to get. The books of living, the books of dead are the people who are dead are going to have the books open towards them. This is what we learn from the Gemara. What does it mean that you have the Sfarim of the Mesim? Sfarim of Chaim, I understand. Those who are alive, I understand. What does it mean those who are not alive anymore? What do the books do? If a person's not alive, how does that help? So number one, we just see from here that there's a concept of atonement that a person gets before that Yom Kippur. And here's the big one. Ready for this? Here's the big one. This is what really makes a difference. This is what really has an effect on our lives. What does it mean to have Sifrei Meitim? The books of the non-living are open. Okay, what are they open for? For what? How? Why? What are you getting? You lived your life already. What are you getting? What? The virtues that you planted forward, which means if you've done certain things in this world, and let's say you wrote a sefer, you said over Divrei Torah, and then a person's no longer in this world anymore, what does it mean? Even after a person dies, the merits that they've created in this world can continue. So the Sifrei Mesim, the books of the non-living, are actually open, which actually means they are being judged again to see the effects of what they've actually done that are continuing in this world. Similarly, unfortunately, in the Sifrei Mesim, if a person has caused bad things to happen and has continued those bad things to happen even after they're no longer alive anymore, so then their books are open as well. So you take, for example, a Nazi Yamach Shemam, right? So he did his thing, and he was terrible and evil, and he's like, okay, I'll go to my Gehenna and I'll have it. But every year the books are going to be open for him, and there's going to be a new judgment of all the lives that he destroyed for the future, and all the neo-Nazis that came from this guy, and that promoted his ideas. So there, he has a continuation of judgment in the negative, and therefore, those are the books that are also open. So too for us, we think about for ourselves, whenever we're debating to do something negative, we want to know how much of an effect is that actually going to have. But most importantly, for the positive, anytime we do something positive, it's going to have an effect. We want it to have an everlasting effect that it can go for eternity, even after we're no longer in this world. So here we see these two particular points. One point is that even though a person passes away before Yom Kippur, the vidur that a person does right before has some element of atonement with Yom Kippur itself, because of the fact that we know that Sifrei Chaim, the books of the living and the books of the non-living, are also open before us, which means they're constantly reviewed even after a person passes away. As Mati pointed out, the Neshamos, they're constantly being reviewed every year, because that judgment is going to be for a judgment of Olam Haba, for the future time. Not just simply the Olam HaNeshamos, but Olam Haba as well. Of course, we are living for eternity. We are living to be able to reach that level of Olam Haba. So we hope for ourselves that the opportunities that we have can last and have a perpetuity to it, and have continual mitzvahs that continue to grow and grow and grow long into the future.